Welcome into this Monday edition Oxford Exxon Podcast presented by Twisted Tea. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clarkport Studio this morning. Ole Miss knocking off Tulane 37-20, a game that was one possession in the fourth quarter. We will give our final thoughts on that. Move ahead to Georgia Tech, where Ole Miss is a heavy favorite this week in Oxford. 6:30 p.m. start for that one with the Rebels and the Yellow Jackets. We'll look at lines and talk whatever else today. Tuesday, for any new listeners, typically our NFL day. Tonight, Jets and Bills wrapping up week one of the NFL season. I think 2.5 is that line this morning, something like that. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's 2.5 this morning, something like that, for Jets Bills tonight on Monday Night Football. So that's kind of where we are as we start the show. A show brought to you every day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Back in the Grove this weekend. Let Blue Sky help you with your tailgating, your catering needs. They got the slabs of ribs. They got the pounds of pulled pork, the sides, the vegetables, tons of different specials. We'll bring you those throughout the week. Again, tons of options there, including the lunch specials and the beer cave. If you need alcohol, they've got plenty of those options with their beer selection there at the Blue Sky location in Oxford. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900 is the number. You'll get great service, great vehicles. Corey and the people there, they want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what it means when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. The Campbell Clinic is in Oxford now, 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102, just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow. The Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care, everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine and total joint care to pediatric orthopedics, physical therapy. To book an appointment, go to campbellclinicoxford.com or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
The AP Top 25 out for the week. It is not something that carries really any weight whatsoever, but it's kind of a fun snapshot every week. And it has a very late 90s, early 2000s feel to it this week. Michigan, Florida State, Texas, and USC rounding out the top five after Georgia, Washington in there at 8, Penn State. It does. It's got a bit of kind of my childhood feel to it a little bit here as it's going this morning, including 4 different teams getting first place votes. Michigan getting a couple, Florida State getting 3, and then Texas getting a couple after knocking off Alabama on Saturday. So,
not counting Texas as an SEC school, how many, if I set the over-under at 1/2, how many SEC teams make the college football playoff based on what you've seen so far? Where would you put your money?
I still think one team makes it because they're going to get an SEC team if they have any benefit of the doubt whatsoever. I mean, after telling me, hey, this is going to be one of those years where they get 2, hell no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
If the over-under is 1.5, it's easy under.
Yeah, no,
under.
I mean, through
Bang
2 weeks, I think one gets in simply because.
I think Georgia gets in.
Because their schedule's not very complicated.
Right.
And if you go 12-0 and lose in the title game, you still get in. If you're the 2-time defending national champions at 12-1, you get in.
I think so.
Now, look, they got offensive issues.
Big time.
I know they won 45-3 or whatever that was yesterday.
I asked everybody on Saturday in the postgame show. Thanks to everybody who listened. Got a lot of views. Got a lot of listens. Appreciate it. Thought it was a good enough show considering who was trying to drive the ship. The league's not good. Do the exercise, and I did it yesterday for 10 Weekend Thoughts, which is up at rebelgrove.com, part of the Rivals Network, where you rank the SEC. And number 1's easy, and number 14's easy. And literally starting at 2, things get complicated.
You want a hot take?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not sure Missouri's not worse than Vanderbilt.
Could be. I mean,
they kind of suck.
Yeah, I had Missouri, I think, at 13.
Yeah, it's fine.
So 1's easy. 13.
No, you have a point. I'm just
13 and 14 are easy, but starting at number 2, it gets kind of weird. Like, how do you figure it? And we could do that mental exercise of, like I saw people go, Ole Miss probably had the best win in the SEC over the weekend, and I'm like, okay,
they did. I mean, there's no doubt, but
okay, I guess. Then I go, well, then boy, the league's down. Like because.
Well, it's the week too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you only have so many whatevers. I mean, about this.
Yeah. I just think like you look at it, I'm like, well, I think Alabama's still 2 because Texas would have beaten everybody else. Like all the other teams, if they'd played Texas at home on Saturday night, watching the way Texas played, Texas would have beaten everybody else. And then I still do the deal with LSU where like, well, if most of these teams that they'd played Florida State in Orlando last Sunday night, they would have lost. And so I still kind of put them there. And then after that, it's like, this is a total crapshoot. Like, how do you differentiate today between Texas A&M and Ole Miss and Kentucky and Arkansas and Mississippi State? And I mean, there's like degrees of stuff, but like nobody's just wowing you.
No, there's problems. There's stuff everywhere. And I guess it's across the country. We just focus so much on this league that I guess most teams have some semblance of this in whatever way.
I think we're seeing the changing landscape of college football, that this is what it looks like when everyone's building a team and not a program. That no programs have any personality. They all just kind of look like these thrown together hodgepodges, because kind of they are thrown together hodgepodges, and then you see if it kind of works or not.
Because Georgia and Alabama are the teams that take the fewest number of transfers because of how well they recruit throughout the high school cycle, obviously. But if Georgia doesn't make the playoffs this year, they're going to get criticized for not going out and getting a portal quarterback.
Well, Nick Saban's already getting criticized for not going out and getting a portal quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, because, look, if you put Sam Hartman on Alabama's team, that's one hell of a game Saturday night.
Yeah, sure.
I catch myself cheering for Milroe because he seems like a really good kid.
Well, but you feel sorry for him almost because he looks so deer in the headlights at times. Yeah. It's like, dude.
I mean, the moment there's pressure, it's like, I'm out. I mean, I like this. You're not going to win like that. But,
Alabama no longer scares anyone.
No.
You show up and think, hey, it's still a big deal if you beat them.
And they're still talented as hell.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm not saying they're going 6-6. But at the same time, there's not this aura where they beat you before they get on the field anymore. Nope. It's gone.
Nope. Texas was not even a little bit intimidated.
No. They were the better team. They won the line of scrimmage.
Texas took the field, and there was a look on their faces of they couldn't wait to get in there. I was like, whoa, I picked this one wrong.
And when you have the better quarterback, to the degree that you have the better quarterback, there is such a confidence that comes with that.
Of course. Yeah, and Ewers.
It's why, look, we'll get into it, and I've got a couple of Ole Miss thoughts as we kind of close the book on Tulane, and we'll get to those in a second. But it's why this West is so jumbled, is that I don't know what to make of Jaden Daniels right now.
Sure.
Still think he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's fine.
He had the bad game against Florida State. Okay, sure. Bad half, really. He was pretty good in the first half.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, it's easy to say Jackson Dart's the best quarterback in the SEC West. And when you have the quarterback, any individual game is goodable.
Yeah.
Individual game.
I think so. I'm a big Jackson Dart guy.
No.
I got to kind of think about that for a minute.
Connor Wegman played really well Saturday.
Really did.
It was not his fault.
The irony of the A&M thing is that offensively, they played well enough to win.
They did.
Defensively and special teams, they were bad.
They're horrible.
It's the irony of everybody goes, see, Jimbo. It's like, no, Jimbo, let Petrino do his thing. And
Durkin got worked by Miami.
Offensively, they were pretty good. Wegman was really good. They gave up was it a kickoff return or a punt return? And then defensively, they were just, they were a sieve. I mean, Miami, that cat, what can't think of his name right now, the quarterback, slips my mind. A year ago, I was like, he sucks. And now he's probably ACC Player of the Week. 5 TDs, no picks, just lit them up.
Yeah, Wegman's great.
Who was the quarterback for Miami?
Tyler Van Dyke.
Van Dyke. He had a big day.
Yeah. Oh, there's a hot take. Bubblefish put Spencer Sanders on Bama and they win Saturday night.
I'm just not prepared to go there.
That feels a little much. We're doing such a thing. Again, we'll get into lines as the day goes on, which allows us to talk about the other teams and the games this weekend. It's kind of the reason we do that and what it sets up for Thursday. The Ole Miss thing, it's 2 days later, and we're still doing this deal, and I'm laughing at myself, too, because I'm doing it as well, of not knowing what the hell to make of it because I don't know what the hell to make of Tulane.
Yeah. So my answer is
they're without Michael Pratt. Clearly a deal.
of course.
And I don't even mean
monumental
this.
deal.
And okay, look, this is a moving forward statement. This is not a backward statement. This
Right.
is not, hey, give Ole Miss all the respect in the world because they beat Tulane. My point is they have a really big game in 2 weeks. That is what I'm saying with this
Yeah.
next sentence.
12 days.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Close enough. 2 Saturdays from now.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss, you can be a little even more exaggerated with this and be hyperbolic, but either way you want to do it. Depending on whether you want to say going into this season or when they left spring and they assembled rosters. Either way. Ole Miss was without the 3 or 4 top pass catchers on their team on Saturday. Trey Harris played 3 snaps. Chris Marshall's been gone. Zachary Franklin is not dressed out whatsoever, and Caden Prieskorn is injured. Had you gone into the year, those were literally the dudes that Lane Kiffin was going to count on to catch the football.
Now, can I pick that apart a little bit?
Sure, go ahead.
That's on him for taking Chris Marshall.
Oh, well, yeah, no doubt.
Right.
We can say 3 and cross Marshall off the list.
Okay.
My point being, roster construction-wise, even at 3.
Because in hindsight, taking Chris Marshall was stupid.
Yeah, sure. But even at 3, you're literally without your top 3 people you were throwing the ball to.
Okay.
Suddenly, Jordan Watkins and Dayton Wade are your 2 dudes.
Sure.
Michael Triggs having to actually play well. A lot of stuff going on there. That is not the same as losing your quarterback and Pratt being out. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is if they don't get healthy and they don't get somebody back, that is such a tall order for Jackson Dart in 2 weeks.
Agreed.
You just don't have your 1A. You don't have your security blanket. It's literally the 2 dudes he was most comfortable with, as I said Saturday night, in Prieskorn and Harris heading into the season. And then we obviously don't know. Lane's made jokes about he doesn't know, but Zachary Franklin was supposed to be at least a number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Supposed to be.
Right.
Again, don't know.
Right.
That's a lot of, we're not necessarily talking about Ole Miss as crazy banged up, but they're banged up in the exact spots that they can't be banged up, I guess is the point right now.
Yeah, sure.
For sure. Where they're going into the meat of the schedule to decide where they're going to even sit as you get into the middle of the SEC West. And it is one tall damn order right now. It wasn't enough on Saturday.
Generating a passing attack without those guys is going to be difficult. And the way that they're struggling to run the football because of, I think because of how they're playing up front. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
Lane kind of said that. He was asked about the offensive line on Saturday night, and he said, look, I haven't looked at anything, but yes, you would assume that how we're running the ball, that was on the offensive line, that they clearly did not play well and it was ugly.
You've got a running back who's very clearly frustrated. There's a lot going on. I mean, I wrote this on Saturday, so I'm going to stick to it. There's absolutely no sense in doing the hypothetical of what would have happened if Pratt would have played. Well, he didn't play. We don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Now, the other side, and I see this from not you and me, but some people I use the word beat very loosely.
Yeah.
This spin that this was this program building victory in New Orleans. It's kind of dizzying, man. I'm like, really? I mean, come on. Really? It's Tulane without their starting quarterback.
You dodged a bullet.
Yes.
You beat a good team. They're good.
They're good. You beat a good team without their best player on the road. It was you had to come back to do it. Good. But don't do the spin. Just chill. We're all going to find out here sooner or later. It's like people say, what did you take away from the Tulane game? And my answer was it's the worst possible answer for fans. It's not much. They avoided disaster.
I frankly had more questions than answers when I left. I kind of went, okay. I think Tulane's front 4 defensively is probably underrated. Now, that's not saying they're Alabama, but they're better than they get credit for being because they have a big wave on the side of the helmet.
But they're not Alabama.
No, of course not.
Right.
But I'm not saying, but hell, I looked around the league. They might be as good as some of those other SEC 2S teams.
Could be.
Because we can't do both. We can't go, hey, the league sucks.
No.
Well, Tulane could never beat Missouri. I
think Tulane would beat Missouri.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Tulane would beat South Carolina. I think Tulane would win based on what I saw Saturday. I think Tulane could have a shot to beat Auburn at home.
And here's the deal.
Now, would they win those games with Kai Horton at quarterback?
Yeah.
I don't know. He wasn't much.
He was pretty good early. Ole Miss adjusted, and he was horrible after that.
Once he got off the script, he wasn't good.
Yeah. They had some stuff, and those 3 third-down conversions on the first drive gave him some confidence, and he kind of zipped it for a minute, and it was sort of whatever. But look, Ole Miss's defense and Kai Horton combined to let Ole Miss stay in the game because it was only 17-7 after you punt 4 times in a row. I mean, it wasn't like Tulane just jumped out there from you, and one of those was on a big return.
That was Tulane's window to win the game. That's what you and I were texting back and forth about, hey, what do we do if? And I was like, I still don't think I think they're going to be fine. From a writing standpoint, we're thinking about, hey, what do we do? Because we're both kind of building our plan around Ole Miss winning, and then if Ole Miss loses, you've got to completely scrap what you had written and write something different. And I was like, I still think we're probably going to be okay because Tulane had a window to go win the game, and they didn't take it.
Ole Miss played really poorly up front. Tulane did a bunch of run blitzes. And Ole Miss schematically, because of the injuries and things going on, their 6th blocker, if pressure comes, is Judkins, and he can't get out in the route because they're having to use him back for protection on dart. I looked at Pro Football Focus this morning. I put grades up, and I noticed in the grades that Michael Trigg did not have a snap where he was a pass blocker. He went out on a route every single time. Well, process elimination says that leaves 5 people, and that's it, even from a schematic standpoint on how you protect Jackson Dart. And when you get 1 or 2 people beat,
emails. Just
I know. I only posted because they were asked for. It was not a content item I had planned this morning. But yeah, my point being is Priestcorn gives them another body. They could even do some things with 2 tights at times. Lane has done that when he's actually had 2 tight ends. They didn't trust Kyron Heath much on Saturday. He didn't play much. They went to Trigg almost exclusively. Trigg, frankly, played really well in the second half. Blocking downfield, receiving. He was engaged on Saturday at a time when they desperately needed it. But we don't have an update on Trey Harris. Again, we've heard some MCL rumors, but it's not highly sourced. We are being very aware that is just what we've heard.
And Lane's not going to fill us in today.
No, I said Lane gave what he gave you today because, again, I said this on Saturday, but some more people listen to this and they do the postgame show, is David Eckert from the Clarion Ledger asked him, do you believe Harris's injury to be long-term, I believe was the way he phrased it. And Lane said really quietly, because we had to go back and up the volume from the thing because he almost kind of whispered it. He goes, I do not. That's what he said. I do not.
Okay.
And he kind of looked around, and I don't remember who had the next question, but he looked at Lane and goes, are you done with that? And Lane laughed. He goes, yeah, you've more than you thought you would get. And we proceeded with the press conference at that point. Point being on all that, Priestcorn is still scheduled as of now to be back for Alabama.
Yep.
That is well sourced. We don't know what's going on with Harris. I was told that last week Franklin cut a little bit and looked more toward playing in a game. Now, What does that continuity look like? What does that look like from a rhythm standpoint? How many snaps? I don't know. Point being, he is progressing from his knee scope and the subsequent recovery of that. So if you get 1 or 2 of those guys back and they look okay, maybe you fixed it. But that was my main takeaway. It was almost strictly injury front standpoint and that's not enough out there to go through that gauntlet the way they need to go through that gauntlet.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be back. It was enough to get past Tulane because Jackson Dart played better than he got credit for. He didn't have a lot of coverage. Everything looked like backyard football at times. They didn't have a running game.
I thought he was terrific.
He willed them on Saturday. I know he had one dumb throw, but otherwise he willed them.
The receiver fell.
Oh, he did fall, didn't he? Yeah, on the interception.
Yeah.
Like, he was good.
The throw was good. I'm not blaming the receiver for falling down. It happens. But the receiver slipped. Otherwise, it's probably a completed pass. I thought Jackson played terrific.
He was good.
I don't get that. That was the thing. I'm glad people are at rebelgrove.com, and I'm glad they're discussing it during the game. But the whole, hey, is it time to bring in Sanders for a change of pace? I mean, if he can play left guard, maybe you think about it. Can he help open up the A gap? I mean, that is the equivalent of the pitcher giving up home run after home run after home run after home run. Hey, should we put in a new shortstop? I mean, well, sure. I mean, why not? But that's not going to fix anything. I get it's just emotion and, hey, we got to do something different. But Jackson Dart is the reason you won the game. Yeah. Period. The end. I don't know who they give game ball to, but he gets it.
Yeah, he played well.
I mean, that play he made to Trigg for the touchdown was totally him.
The two offensive plays of the game were that play and that 20-yard scramble on whatever in like 17 or whatever it was when he got down there and lowered his head and got the yardage and got up all pumped up. And
And for the record, I'm not picking on the left guard. I could have said left tackle. I could have said right tackle. I could have said center. I mean, whatever. They were struggling in those 4 series because Harris was out. Tulane was taking away the A gap, and there was nothing else they could do. They couldn't run the football with any effectiveness at all outside of quarterback run. That was what kept them alive in the game, frankly.
We don't know, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. Do you have any opinion on Williams and Perkins not playing as far as how ready they are or what that could look like moving forward?
I mean, I don't.
Because they clearly didn't trust them. Once they made one mistake each, that was it for the rest of the game.
Well, look, you said this. It's easy to look back and go 37-20.
Yeah.
Blowout. No. I mean, if Tulane they didn't convert it. They got the call right on the field. But let's just for kicks and giggles say that he gets the yard, okay?
Sure.
They're at 1st and 10 at the Ole Miss 20 with, 8 minutes to go?
Sure.
Down.
Yeah.
They were down. I can't remember the score.
7. They were down 7.
Were they down 3?
Was it only 3?
20-17.
Okay, maybe it was. Sure. Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know. Whatever. No, it was 27-20.
Okay.
I think. Hell, I don't know. They're getting ready to potentially go tie the game. I mean, that game was close. So you can't break the freshman in that moment. And so if Aiden Williams is blocking on a pass play when he's supposed to be the receiver, then he's not ready to play.
I told Brian this. I wondered in some ways if, because Horton's out there too, hey, don't make a blown coverage. Make him earn it. Just be in the right place. And we got enough talent. This is going to work out. You know what I mean? Whereas if you thought you were in just some shootout with some crazy quarterback, maybe you decide, hey, I need the athleticism. Maybe he goes and makes a play. But right now it's don't make a bust.
Yeah.
Don't make a bust. Just play coverage. Do what you're supposed to do. Be where you're supposed to be.
Well, Tulane's a very well-coached football team.
So Willie Fritz is very good.
They had him, look, in the first half, they kind of had him schemed up a little bit,
They did.
And so
they shocked them. They had a plan they had not prepared for. It was not the same run schemes they had used against South Al. And they were on their heels a little bit.
Yeah.
Whoa,
so you can't put the freshman linebacker in there and say, hey, play linebacker. You can put him in and go, hey, see that guy, chase him.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it was that simple. Again, the next defense I coordinate will be the first.
Yeah.
But if they're not ready to play, they're not
Pete
ready to
didn't
play.
Go, hey, I have the most athletic guy on the field, but you know what? We're just not going to use him right here. We're good. It's sweet.
It's the duh statement of all time. But the adjustment from Raleigh High School last season to playing Tulane this season,
it's a jump.
It's quite a mountain.
Yeah. So
there's a reason back in the day that you redshirted guys.
Yeah, sure. So. All right, more football in a minute. First, you ready for your Elevate Your College Football Game Day experience? Check out Twisted Tea, your go-to game day beverage for college football fans. Twisted Tea is unlike any hard beverage you've had before. It's made with real brewed tea and packs a flavorful punch with 5% alcohol, no carbonation, delivering you the perfect balance of taste and refreshment that goes down smooth for every game day occasion. No need to settle for the usual. Twisted Tea turns up any occasion, especially when you're cheering for your favorite team, when you're tailgating in the stadium, watching at a bar, hosting friends at home. Twisted Tea there to elevate your game day experience. It complements your love for college football and your passion for creating unforgettable moments. So let's toast to unforgettable game day experiences. Twisted Tea, the drink that fuels fun and celebrates your love for college football. Keep it twisted.
Do you hate losing games? Do you hate losing players? Do you hate paying for your insurance? If you said yes to those questions, Davey Ferris can help. He's partnered with the Grove Collective. He'll be donating 20% of all commissions, 10% of all renewals on both personal and commercial insurance policies. Davey can service customers in all 50 states. He's dedicated to making sure Ole Miss athletics succeeds in this era of college sports. So call Davey Ferris at 214-715-7247 or via email at dferris@hillcoinsurance.com. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? What accounts should you pull from first? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Seago with Seago Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or you prefer Zoom from anywhere, schedule a free discovery meeting and see what they can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern, 662-429-4429. A-Stock is a Nashville-based online retail company with the power and the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1, no matter what the retail value may be. So shop now at astock.bid. Download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. They've got several locations around Nashville and Memphis and others coming soon, so don't miss out. If you're coming up this weekend, make the College Corner part of your weekend. Stop by their new location, the Oxford Commons, right off of Sisk Avenue. More than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear, plenty of parking available. Their staff will have you in and out and ready for the Grove in no time. It's collegecornerstore.com. And we're brought to you by Game Changer Patches, the only two-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. You got the warm-up patch, the overtime patch. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for your next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com. Promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase.
Podcast is brought to you by Prime Shrimp, PrimeShrimp.com. 7 different flavors available for you. Everything from the New Orleans-style barbecue to the signature. It's got a garlic flavor. It's great, versatile, all-purpose shrimp flavor for you. Again, great on salads at lunch, great protein snacks, or dinner with so much stuff going on at night. Kids are busy. Let Prime Shrimp help. You can use code RG. You buy 5 pouches or more, and you get 25% off. That's code RG, Prime Shrimp, 5 pouches or more, and they can take care of dinner tonight. They're also available in your Rouse's Markets. If you have one of those nearby, again, that's code RG with PrimeShrimp.com. All right, jump into lines a little bit here today, heading into the week. Any of us have a decent week, or we suck?
Rippy had a good week.
Did he?
Everybody else sucked.
Really?
Yep.
It's early. Got time. Not in mid-season form. It's okay.
It is definitely early.
And then we have 74 bowl games that decide the championship at the end.
Yes. Lots of time.
And then the NFL season. It's
plenty of time.
It's cool. Fine.
But
It's all good.
Rippy is in the lead.
Is he?
He is.
Well, at least he was like 12 games back this time last year. So, I mean.
Yeah, no, good for him. He's had a big offseason.
Had a big offseason.
Went into the portal.
Hired some interns.
Brought in the right interns, and look at him.
You can bring in the wrong interns.
You absolutely can.
That is very possible. Let's see. Heading into the week, what do we got here? Florida State's going to beat Boston College to death this weekend. Kansas State, Missouri, 11 o'clock on Saturday.
Have fun.
This line opened at only 1.5. It's since moved to 5.5. Kansas State in Columbia at Missouri, 5.5 now.
Look, Troy's pretty good, and K-State beat the hell out of them.
They did. They dominated that game.
They're going to destroy Missouri.
You lay in the 5.5.
Sure.
Over under 46.5 here on a total.
Over.
You don't think it's like 31-6 or something?
No,
like
K-State might get most of that by themselves.
Ooh, really? Okay.
K-State's pretty good.
They are. They're good.
There's a list of SEC teams that would want none of that.
Lost to Tulane last year.
That guy's a really good coach.
He is. The perfect fit for their program.
Yeah.
I mean, just exactly. It was culture, fit, the whole deal, whatever buzzword you want to use, it all went right there. It was perfect for them. LSU, Mississippi State, 11 o'clock Saturday morning. It's in Starkville.
Interesting.
Opened at 9, now at 10. LSU minus 10 against the Bulldogs. State beat Arizona, but it took turnovers. And, I mean, they were fortunate as hell to get out of there with a win. Both SEC schools that beat Pac-12 schools, Godspeed. It was a struggle for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're State, the only thing that you're saying today is, hey, it's early.
We did win.
Truer words. That's about it.
Coach with an epic F-bomb on national television.
He did.
I mean, he caught himself afterward.
Yeah.
He felt bad.
I think LSU wins and covers, and we get back to having some rational thought about the Tigers, but we'll see. I think we go, okay, well, you know what? LSU lost to a really good team.
Sure.
I think that's what we do. I could be wrong. We'll see.
I don't know if care is the right word here, and I'm getting on with picks in a second, odds in a second. Care is not really the word, but when I watch it and look, and maybe it's just new and I haven't adjusted and I don't like change. I don't know. I look at the top 25 and there's so many Pac-12 schools in it. I like regionality. I'm kind of bothered that all those schools are going somewhere else when I look at the rankings.
Should be.
Because I go, this is stupid.
It's idiotic.
I mean, because they're littered throughout this. USC at 5, Penn State at 7. I mean, not Penn State. Hell, Washington at 8. Utah at 12. Oregon at 13. Oregon State at 16. Colorado at 18. Washington State at 23.
UCLA's in there.
And UCLA at 24.
Yeah.
And go.
It's a strong league.
League's gone.
Yeah, it's over. Unbelievable. I don't think it's going to hit us until next year when there's no Pac-12. There's a nothing. I think next year it's going to be really?
The SEC has stayed relatively a modicum of regional, sort of. So I don't think we're noticing it as much as other places because how much we focus on the SEC. But I think it negatively is going to impact fans' experiences next year.
Could be.
I just do.
Well, the early returns.
I know the entire country doesn't have the same regionality necessarily as the South does sometimes, but I mean, I think there's.
The early returns say that the people who are running college football do not care about the fan experience.
Well, they don't like football.
I mean, that Tulane game. Okay, so I normally am at the game.
Yeah, sure.
So I was in here, you were at New Orleans, so we kind of switched roles a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Chase, I was paying attention because I was riding. But there were times I was like, because I had something else on this TV. Okay, so I had the Ole Miss game on this TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I had something else over here. And they'd go to commercial, and I'd get into this, and I'd look up, I'd go, oh, I missed something. It was 4 minutes.
Yeah. It was the most noticeable I have seen it at a game, and I don't necessarily know why. But I was sitting next to Michael Katz, and I kept looking over and going, we're still in break. Like, just nothing happened. We're just not moving. I mean,
it's unreal.
It felt like there was an injury timeout every time. Like they were bringing the cart out or something because it was just so delayed and slow. And I mean,
and when they did the review, for example, they came back and like, oh, but while we were out, you missed. I'm like, well, this is when I would have rather stayed and seen the replays. Like for 4 minutes, I had no idea whether they were going to rule that he'd stepped out or not. I thought he'd stepped out, but I wasn't sure.
It's only week 2.
It's incredible.
It's only week 2, and I'm completely able to rest my case that this new clock change is the dumbest thing ever.
Well, I'm fine with whether the clock change or not, but the commercials are longer than they've ever been.
Because they filled the space with commercials. That only happened because of the clock change.
I think they added commercials.
They did. They added commercials to make up for the time the actual game was losing.
Because Ole Miss kicked off at 2:30, and it was after 6 when it ended, right?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
I mean,
so
we're still going 3:40. And then you watch the NFL product the next day, and you're like, oh, yeah. Totally different.
The NFL's in charge.
I know.
TV networks are not in charge.
I know.
Huge difference.
I know. Well, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying from a viewing experience.
College football sacrificed their product for the dollar. Right or wrong or indifferent. Yeah.
One viewing experience is not all that great, and the other viewing experience is very streamlined. NFL games kind of roll. They move on. You get it.
Sure.
You know, I mean, you're good. You're good.
No, it's either taken back at some point or it just goes farther and farther and farther, and you care a little less and a little less because of all the changes.
But good God, man. I mean, if you're just like a casual viewer and they go to commercial and you get up and go do, you could completely forget that the game was going on. I'm totally serious when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the people who are emotionally dialed into every play. I'm just talking about the cat who's like, yeah, I'm watching a football game.
Sure.
I mean, he goes to a 4-minute commercial break. My God. I don't even have ADHD. I can't even imagine if I did. I think I'd go mow the yard or something. I'd get lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Grind makes the point that I've been making. The NFL players are much better with the clock which was the argument against the actual rule change. But when you filled it with commercials, you've just killed both sides now. You've made the play a little worse, and you've added commercials, which hasn't actually affected our time at all.
Yeah.
So congratulations. That's what you pulled off. 161 ads in the LSU Florida State game.
Whew. Dude.
So either they have to change something, or they're going to have to. Maybe you go to the golf thing, or maybe soccer, where you put the freaking ad on the screen and do like the split screen during the game.
Can you not do an in-game ad?
That's what I'm talking about.
Can you not charge more and have fewer?
But why would you charge more and have fewer? I mean, you charge more and have the same.
I guess.
That's my point. Nothing else matters. Content does not matter anymore whatsoever. Because that number I just gave you didn't count the Aflac trivia question and the Goodyear player of the game and all that stuff. That was just traditional break ads at that number. Almost, over 150 or whatever it was. Penn State giving 14.5 to Illinois on Saturday. I think they're going to cover that. I like the Nittany Lions.
Lay them.
Feel good about that. For them. See, scrolling
I actually
down.
watched a little bit of Illinois, Kansas on Friday night.
Did you?
Yeah, Illinois is not so good.
Duke's going to beat one of the other smart schools. They're a 19-point favorite against Northwestern at home in Durham on Saturday.
Lay them.
Yeah, I think so too. Minnesota getting 7 from North Carolina in Chapel Hill this weekend.
I think I'll lay them.
You kind of like that game all of a sudden.
That's not bad.
I said a Big Ten team. He perked up. He's excited.
Yeah. Minnesota, North Carolina, you could do worse.
Kind of like Virginia Tech getting 3.5 at Rutgers on Saturday.
I mean, I'd rather watch that than somebody play Furman.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. That was a game for a little while.
Well, it was, but still.
Yeah. Oklahoma laying 26 against Tulsa. Oregon State laying 23.5 against San Diego State.
All right, where do you stand on this Jeff Lebby, Art Briles thing? I'm a little irritated. You know me, I hate our field. I hate the majority of the people in our field. It's his father-in-law.
Was there an agreement in advance?
I don't know.
That's my question.
What are you going to do, though? You going to tell him, hey, when he wants to walk on the field at the end of the game, that you can't come down here because
no, that's my question,
things
though.
that you did in the past?
But look, I have no problem with him on the field. I'm agreeing. I'm saying, did they break an agreement that was already in place? Because then you get into Lebby should have agreed to it to begin with.
Right.
That's a different conversation. That's what annoyed me is nobody asked the one question which I actually cared about was he told not to?
Had y'all ever discussed this before?
Was he told not to, or are you just mad now in retrospect?
Right.
That's my question. That determines the whole thing.
Right.
Again, no, I have no issue with him on the field whatsoever.
Yeah, that was my thing. Is it's like, really? And then Lebby gets asked those questions, and he didn't get asked the question. What's he supposed to say in that moment? Yeah, my father-in-law's a monster. You can't say that. It's the father of his wife.
As strong as Castiglione came out, my guess is there was an agreement that wouldn't be the case.
Probably so.
So again, you either make the agreement or you don't make the agreement. But that's
I just thought
the
some of the media stuff was just overkill, but that's what we do.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me in any stretch of the imagination.
Just ridiculous.
Georgia minus 27 at home against South Carolina on Saturday.
Lay 'em.
I guess they score enough.
I don't think Carolina can score. Their offense is so dink, dink, dink that I think Georgia might score 14 defensive points. Look, the thing with Georgia is that defensively they are really freaking good.
They're great.
Offensively, it's
a slog.
It's
they're not good offensively.
No, they're not. The question with them is, can they be average? Because if they're average, they'll be fine.
It might be enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. Alabama on the road in Tampa at USF on
Here's the question
Saturday.
with Bama. Do they make a move at quarterback?
To Simpson?
To somebody.
Yeah.
Do they go to 2 quarterbacks? So they divide the time? How do they do that? Where does that stand? Saban admitted that he thought about making a quarterback change, and then they had a scoring drive.
Yeah.
It will be an interesting week there. They'll destroy South Florida.
I'm not saying it's the case. Okay. I'm not putting Nick Saban in his grave. Okay.
Okay. Well, some people, I know what you're about to say, and some people are saying it.
You stop resonating at some point with age.
Unless you're running for president, at which point you don't.
But everybody's had this moment where they fall off just a little bit because you don't connect with the player quite as well.
Yeah.
Is he there? Again, not saying yes or no.
I don't know. I've watched,
but that would be one of my questions if I'm Greg Byrne.
Did you see the wide? I think it was a wide receiver, kid who scored a touchdown.
Okay.
He did an Instagram live. I think it was an Instagram live. Okay,
some social media product
where he was live.
Okay,
and he calls his mother over, and he's like, "Hey, look at how many viewers I've got." And he's excited. He's dancing and all that stuff. And people are just blowing him up in the stream. And I kind of like, in Nick Saban's glory days, which is not that long ago, really, that probably didn't happen. Guys weren't celebrating a touchdown in a game that they lost. It's a different era of kid. I mean, you're managing different. The kids are different now. You get on the social media, you see it. I mean, there was some evidence of it with an Ole Miss player on Saturday. There's stuff.
Okay.
It's a different deal.
You brought that up. There he is, and here's the deal. Everything we've talked about forever, I'm going to be very brief with my coming up to speed. The NIL, the players' abilities to transfer, all the things that we are player-friendly now, and it's not direct, but there is a sense, at least among the players, of, please, God, just play and we'll give you whatever you want. And there's no rules and there's no whatever, and just, please, God, put the uniform on and come play.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least that feeling around things.
Sure.
Outside of double transfers. That is...
Yeah.
It's what you feel. And look, I don't know. Maybe I'm being somebody who turns 40 this year. Maybe I'm being whatever. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm kind of annoyed by the answer of, yeah, they're just kids and they're different and they have social media. I'm frustrated by it because you're making a lot of money with most of these kids. No, you're a professional when it comes to that now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Quinshon Judkins thing. Look, I'm not bashing Quinshon Judkins. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. I'm not about to go dissect his social media. However, I do not think it's out of bounds to look at Quinshon Judkins' social media because he posted something or liked something and make a judgment on that.
It makes $750,000.
We would do it on the NFL player at any point.
Absolutely.
So why not that? I don't like the answer to, no, he's just a college kid. No. You sacrifice that ability. And I'm not talking about Quinshon in general. I mean, specifically. It's not anybody. You sacrifice that ability once we're in this era. You can lose things off social media and post just like the employee at wherever, any private entity. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
That's my point, is there are negatives that come with this. There is a responsibility that comes with this. It's not all just, yes, I get to do whatever I want and I get all these things. Life still doesn't work that way. Again, he's not getting punished. Now, again, I'm trying to stay off Quinshon because it's not really about that. It just opened me up to thought with this. But in general, a college player is not necessarily being punished for these things, but no, you're fully within the right to at least speculate and can wonder, as long as you do it responsibly, on what those things meant or didn't mean or what is said or not said.
No, I mean, I got asked on social media yesterday what I thought about it. I was like, I don't know. I mean, my gut reaction is still college kid being on social media, but I can't argue with what you just said. When he makes a post or retweets a post or whatever that says, I made my bed, I have to lay in it, I'm like, there's kind of no way to construe that in any other way. And then look, when you go back and delete stuff, you are admitting
it makes it look like that's exactly what you're talking
about. That's the worst thing. I mean, you that's affirmation of what people suspected. And you just start randomly liking Will Campbell post. I mean, it fuels speculation, right? It does. I mean,
that's my point.
I'm going to be real here. I mean, here's a kid who still has his transfer available. He can't go pro after this year. He has his transfer available. And so now when people go, you know what, he might transfer to LSU, there's like, well, there's some evidence that he's thinking about it. I mean, how strong is that
Whether
evidence?
it is or isn't because of something you did.
Yeah.
That's it.
You created that storyline. Nobody else was going to be like, I mean, I was never going to be like, hey, Quinshon Judkins might be thinking about transferring to LSU. But now I'm like, okay, well, I got to watch that now. Because he could. The rules allow him to. As early as January.
Yeah, I think it's just young people in general. Again, not Quinshon isn't doing anything anybody else isn't doing, but it's, hey, look, it is still out in the world. It's there. People see it.
Yeah.
There is a response to you doing things on social media. It's not simply, no, I mean.
And for the record, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
as someone who has kids in this generation,
Yeah.
I don't blame the kids. I blame the parents. With no exceptions. I blame the parents. We're the ones that let kids quit. We're the ones that just hey, you don't like your club team? Switch to a new club team. You don't like that AAU coach? Just switch to a new AAU coach. There is no perseverance taught. So you can't be shocked. You can't be shocked when you look up and you're like, okay, well, I had a couple bad games. I'm going to jump in the portal. I can. Yeah, because the rules allow it. Sure. Shouldn't be shocking. They didn't learn that on their own. It wasn't some organic thing. Don't blame the kids. Blame the parents. That's who did it. It's a generational. That's who does it. Not a collection of, when they were 13, they said, hey, you know what? Let's have a meeting. Let's all agree to be, quote, soft, end quote. No, that's not it. An environment was created for them that put them in that spot. I tell mine all the time, you have to have some toughness, some mental toughness. You're going to go through adversity. Everything is not always going to go your way, and you can't just quit. You can't just switch and switch and switch. You're going to have moments in your professional life that are challenging. There's a reason they call, I say this all the time to everybody, there's a reason they call it work. Hey, I'm going to get up and go to fun today. No, you're getting up and going to work today. And ideally, your work will be fun. But there will be days when work sucks. Mm-hmm. When I had to get up and go, I'm not getting on my soapbox, but when I had to get up on Saturday mornings and drive in Alabama and drive to Montevallo to cover a girls' high school volleyball tournament, there was no part of me that looked forward to that. None. But it was my job. And so I did it. And I had two choices. I could either go, okay, well, I'm going to sulk the whole damn day, or I'm going to try to write something that's good from this. I'll figure it out. Because I'm here one way or the other, right? But we didn't, that's not the way it is now. So, of course, there's a difference. But it's not on the kids. When you blame the kids, I just think you're blaming the wrong people.
I mean, there's ones left.
I'll get off my.
Those ones left holding is the thing. I mean.
Oh, PCA's getting called up? Oh, cool. That must mean. Oh, the only bad thing about that is that must mean that Jamer Candelario's hurt. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
What the hell are we talking about?
Pete Crow Armstrong, apparently, according to people in the stream, is getting called up.
Okay. Okay.
Otherwise known as the future savior of the Chicago Cubs.
Okay, I was about to say in English, please. No, look, point being.
He's as if God created a baseball player and put him in center field, he would be Pete Crow Armstrong. There. Okay. No pressure.
Oh, okay. I'll come back to that probably in a minute. But, yeah, the final point.
I was trying to lighten the mood from my soapbox.
When you're getting paid, there is responsibility and there's more attention. That's it. There's more attention on you.
And when you're getting paid close to $1 million to play college football, there is pressure on you to be a leader on your team. There is.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there just is. And if you don't like that, pardon my language here, hit the mute button. Tough shit. If it's not going well for you, you got to figure out why it's not going well.
Yeah, look, his social media is not changing anything this week. It's not affecting anything in the locker room, none of that. It's not, it's whatever. It's a lesson. It's, hey, this is what happens.
Right.
It becomes talk.
Well, it can become a locker room thing. It can,
sure.
Fast.
Yeah.
Fast.
Sure.
I mean, it is absolutely something if you're covering the team and you're saying, hey, we're covering the arc of this season, what do they say in baseball? Put a star by it?
Yeah,
you put a star by this one. Hey, I'm watching one of the little stickies.
Yeah.
Yellow thing in the book of this season. You're putting a sticky right here because it's going to go one way or the other. It's either this is going to be something that becomes this synergizing thing or it's going to become divisive.
Yeah.
I say all the time, you're either regressing or progressing. I don't believe in stagnation. I don't think there's a lot of it. This show's either getting better or it's getting worse. That might get worse and then get better and then get
sure.
worse and then get better. But it never is like, hey, you know what? Tuesday's show is the same as Monday's show. Not really.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm preaching today. I'm not trying to.
No.
I had kind of a parenting moment yesterday. I'm not going to dive into it on this show, but where we had a conversation, we had a breakthrough. We talked about something. There was something that went adverse, and it was upsetting. And I said, hey, the only way you stop this from happening again is to go work on it, to acknowledge that you have an issue and that you have to make it better. And the only way to make it better is to work, is to apply yourself, to acknowledge you have a problem and to try to fix it. That's it. Otherwise, the problem stays.
Yeah. My gut tells me that they're 140 yards and 2 touchdowns game away from us not talking about it anymore. But
of course,
again, you know,
of course.
Where it's
I mean, look, like you said it earlier in the show, and I've been saying it for weeks. They play Alabama in 12 days.
Yeah.
Okay. When that game starts, you know what's coming. The score's going to be 0-0. They're going to put 15.00 on it. The QTR is going to say 1.
And somebody's going to kick a football.
And they're going to bring the captains out. Someone's going to defer, and someone's going to kick a ball through the end zone. It's going to be 1st and 10 on the 25. And when the ball gets snapped,
Here we go.
And he's going to wind it, and they're going to keep score. And we're going to find out. It's coming.
Yeah.
Alabama's going to beat USF on Saturday, and Ole Miss is going to beat Georgia Tech on Saturday. And we're going to dissect those games because that's what we get paid to do. But in 12 days, there's a moment of truth coming. There's an exam coming. And now the exam's for Alabama, too.
Yeah.
Because Alabama's not going to learn a damn thing about themselves on Saturday against USF. They're going to learn a hell of a lot about themselves against Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss is going to learn a lot about itself against Alabama. And then the next week, when Ole Miss plays LSU, it's another exam. You got 2 exams coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
And so you'll find out all about it. Because when we do this show on 20 days from right now, or 3 weeks from right now, we're going to know. It's going to be a really informative show. Because we're going to know a hell of a lot more than we know today. Because what do we know today? Not much.
Yeah. No about that. Podcast brought to you by Northeast Spark, NESPARC. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, printer controls, network security, and much more. Again, get the best internet in Lafayette County, also parts of Union and Pontotoc counties. That's 662-238-3159.
Dead Soxy, the best socks you can put on your feet. They sponsor our post-game show. We certainly appreciate that. They have a new line out with Michael Trigg merchandise. So you can find all of that at deadsoxy.com. Promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. Clients in multiple states, advisors in multiple states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. We're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you are planning a trip, maybe it's a holiday trip, maybe you're already looking ahead to spring break, to next summer, get in touch with John, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He's going to help you find some options that you're probably not going to find on your own. It's going to help you make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. And we're brought to you by OPA. It's the perfect place on the square for your company dinner, a festive party event. If you're already thinking about Christmas parties, hard to believe, but that's right around the corner. Get in touch with them. Get in touch with Jeannie, 601-421-7147. Fabulous food, great craft libations. They can accommodate up to 200 guests at OPA. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist, staffing and recruiting agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they can help you with opportunities across the board in multiple fields from beginner level to advanced career levels. Just get in touch with Will, Sydney, or Kelsey at 662-832-5138 or check out their improved and new website, servicespecialistltd.com. Get the beautiful and healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Bubba McQueen and Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today and take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com.
Neal mentioned Christmas lights. Let Heavenly Sunshine, or mentioning Christmas lights by Heavenly Sunshine. They will help you out. They know they can be a lot of work, but they're beautiful, and they can take care of the hassle and do that work for you with their full-service installation plan. They'll install, take down, and even store the lights in the non-Christmas season. They use commercial-grade LEDs that are 100% customizable to your home or business. Let them take care of the lights while you take care of the gifts. You book in the month of September, and you get a free 30-inch deluxe lighted wreath with code MPW10. That's MPW10 for a free wreath with Heavenly Sunshine. They've been serving the Mid-South over 4 decades. Their full-service commercial and residential property maintenance includes power washing, soft wash roof cleaning, facade cleaning, and window cleaning. That's heavenlysunshine.com, 662-342-1203 to book your free estimate today. Get back into the games. Yeah, I mean, Alabama plays Ole Miss, and I mean, Ole Miss has a chance to effectively end their season from the standpoint of anything they would be playing for heading into the year. I mean, not even out September yet would be kind of done for the Tide. It's been a while since that was the case. Nick Saban's pretty good at home usually, but they did not look great on Saturday. Iowa still trying to get 25 points in a game for Coach's kid. They are hosting Western Michigan, so a big game for the Ferentz family on Saturday. Is the line is higher than 25 points on Saturday, so you got to lay 27. That says a lot about the Broncos, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that the Hawkeyes are favored by 27 points.
It's the crazy thing. It's 2 years in a row. The offense is just very pedestrian, and the defense is really good.
I mean, Phil Parker's trying to save his job. Giving him the ball, scoring touchdowns.
Defensively, Iowa's a really good team.
Look, I know Kirk is a legend there. It's malpractice right now.
It is.
Because they're wasting what should be a really good Big Ten team with their lack of offense.
They should be a top 4 Big Ten team.
And instead, they're a fringe top 25 team that we are making fun of every week. It's on the coach.
I agree completely. 100%.
They have one of the best defenses in the country.
Yes.
And they are average or barely above average because of how bad their offense is.
I mean, defensively, they are elite.
No, they're great.
They are wasting so much because if they could be average on offense, they'd have a shot. If they were slightly above average on offense, they'd be a rolling ball of butcher knives, as Tommy Tuberville used to say, because they don't have to do a lot to win.
No, you give them Notre Dame's offense, and they're a title contender.
Oh, yeah. Legit.
But
because that defense can stifle people.
But not like this. Not like this at all. Texas A&M trying to hand ULM its first loss of the season. The Warhawks 2-0 after wins over Army and Lamar to kick things off. Terry Bowden got things rolling over there in Funrow. A&M a 32-point favorite against ULM on Saturday.
So here we go. We talked about this all off season.
They're going to lay that. They're going to win by 32.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah,
but here we go with A&M. They lost to Miami. It's already talking now. People are already doing it. How does this team handle what's now going to start becoming a distraction? You always have a plan, right? When you're fighting Mike Tyson. You had a plan until Mike Tyson came out and punched you.
Suddenly plan doesn't work anymore.
And suddenly you're scrambling. So here we are. They're scrambling. They said, hey, we're going to be better on offense. You are. But you thought you'd be good on defense, and you're not. So now what do? Now what happens?
A lot of pressure on Connor Wegman.
Oh. And look, it's about to get real for them. What happens when you lose again? You have 2 losses, and you haven't even played Bama yet. You hadn't gone to Ole Miss yet. You hadn't done some of the things you got to do yet. What happens if you lose to Mississippi State? What happens if you lose to Arkansas in 2 weeks? What happens? Can you survive it? Does it become this stifling thing where all of a sudden everybody's talking about the portal and people who's going to be the next coach? And I don't know.
And that schedule have a lot of coin flips on there. Games you can lose, which then takes it where fan base gets even more.
Oh, for sure. I mean, let's pull it up real quick.
I mean, I was reading the content on Saturday, and It was not pretty, not nice. Not giving them a pass on Saturday in that loss at Miami Gardens.
All right, so their schedule coming up.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at this.
Dude, listen to this. Let's just talk about the next few weeks.
That's what I meant, that little stretch.
They get ULM.
Sure, win.
Then Auburn at home.
Not a guarantee.
No.
Auburn defensively is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Now, offensively, they're horrid.
Play Arkansas in the Jerry World game.
That ain't no gimme.
I mean, we'll talk about Arkansas in a minute, but I mean, that's coin tossy. I might go slight lean to the Aggies, but we're talking like 52-48.
You could lose.
Oh, sure. Easy. If I told you today, hey, Arkansas beats Texas A&M.
We're not even blinking on
You're
Monday.
like, okay.
Yeah, sure.
If I tell you that Alabama beats them in College Station, are you blinking?
No.
If I tell you they lose in Knoxville, are you blinking?
Not even a little bit.
I think they beat South Carolina, but by this point, it could be a disaster. If I told you they lost at Ole Miss, are you blinking?
Ole Miss might get the most wobbly A&M team they've played in a while. That's just beaten and battered by that point.
And then after that, you get Mississippi State, first-year coach. They're going to keep playing hard. Abilene Christian, and then at LSU. Hey.
That thing could get...
We talked about this. If you lose to Miami...
What if?
All of a sudden, you just got... We'll do the boxing analogy.
You
just came in. You got cut. You've got a cut over your left eye at the end of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think they're going to attack that cut, do you? The ref's coming over every corner now going, do we need to stop this?
It looks like a really good matchup for Tennessee and Ole Miss because of how bad their defense is.
Oh, I think it looks like a really good matchup for Arkansas and Alabama too.
Yeah.
Because I think you can run on them, which allows you to control clock.
Right. We'll see. Tulane, a 12.5-point favorite against Will Hall and the Golden Eagles at the Rock on Saturday in Hattiesburg. The Tulane people were thinking Pratt's out 3 to 4 weeks with an MCL injury. They were not saying anything out loud, but that was the scuttlebutt that was running through the press box on Saturday.
I'm sure he's a wonderful kid, and his parents are very proud of him. But I got questions about whether you can win with Horton.
You know, he went 30-0 in Texas 4A football in high school.
I'm not surprised.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I saw that and the thing went, I'll be damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I mean, he tried.
It's the most condescending thing Neal said.
Played hard.
It's the Simpsons, the cake. He tried. I mean, look, they can beat Southern without him on Saturday.
Yeah. I think so.
In the American, their defense is going to play.
Yeah.
The watered down American. It's an American without Cincinnati and Houston and BYU and UCF. That might have been my most visceral thing on Saturday that bothered me was UCF and Boise playing a Big 12 conference game. Or they weren't, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I know BYU's in it. It's like, I had to think for a minute. I went, is that league games? Like, and I went, what are you doing, Chase? But that's where we are.
Yeah.
As I go, is this a thing right now as we're doing it?
Something from this thread made me laugh. Have you seen some of the GIFs or memes or whatever this morning about Daniel Jones trying to fit in with the top highest paid quarterbacks? And they show all these like sheep, and there's a Labrador retriever who's like looking around like, am I okay?
I don't remember who put this on Twitter yesterday, but I laughed for several minutes, and it said the best description that they had ever seen of Daniel Jones was he looks like an actor playing Eli in a movie about Peyton. I went, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, Jeffrey. I mean...
I think Jeffrey's okay. I think the
Giants are
Jeffrey
not 40-0
that.
bad. It just kind of went off the rails, but...
Yeah, they had some weird plays, and then it was over.
We're completely, since I've gotten to the Tulane game, we're moving on from the Green Wave. If anybody is out there that hears this, credit to their media relations people. They got everybody in the press box. They had seats. We could all see. They did everything they could do given these space limitations on Saturday after a week of wondering what that was going to look like. It was completely fine. There were no issues whatsoever. Stadium construction and getting out of there, but that's not on Jason and his team.
No.
They did not build the stadium.
Not part of his deal.
But note to self, when you're building a stadium, don't have the visiting team exit through the concourse and take up an exit at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah.
which then divides the concourse in half because you can't even cross because the team is leaving.
Oh. Yeah.
Every college in the country should hire a logistics expert to handle entrance, exit, and concession stands. There are people out there that do this that you should hire. Everyone should have one. Just saying. South Al, speaking of, they are in Stillwater on Saturday facing Oklahoma State. They are 7-point underdogs in that one against Okie State on the weekend. Tennessee and Florida on Saturday. Speaking of a game we used to find really exciting back in the 90s. +7 on this one. Tennessee giving 7 in Gainesville.
All right, so here's the question. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being there's no way in hell I'm watching that, and 10 being you couldn't pry me away from that, where does this rank?
It's oddly high because I want to see the train wreck.
Okay.
No, I don't know why. This line is confusing me. Is do we think less of Tennessee after Austin Peay? Are we giving Florida not enough credit in some weird way? Why is this only 7 points? I know Tennessee played with its food the other day. I get it. I'm not holding that against them. So what are we doing? I did get a lot of energy, though, of Wes Rucker complaining about the officiating in the Austin Peay game and how they aren't throwing enough personal foul penalties on Austin Peay.
Yeah.
By the way, he was very upset in the first half. Thank you for all who sent them to me.
Is this an act by him at this point?
I think he wants to be loved.
Okay.
And he thinks that that's the way to be loved.
So steer into the I'm the great defender of Tennessee.
Well, because he's kind of hated by their fan base.
Really?
That's the odd thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he can be just snarky enough occasionally when they're wounded. And now the question is it just because it's funny or because he's hurt? And I don't know the answer to that. I can't say I've broken bread with the man or know him very well.
We should get y'all together.
We should. We should all hang out. Vanderbilt and UNLV. Vanderbilt -3.5 at UNLV. Well, I mean, we would have seen each other in Omaha, but they didn't make it 2 years ago. So, I mean,
it's true.
I saw the Notre Dame people. I don't know.
That's true. It's true.
Vanderbilt needs to win a game in Vegas on Saturday because it's looking kind of bleak for the Commodores.
Although you think they could beat Missouri.
I'm just telling you, I've watched a little Missouri, and I don't think they're very good.
I know someone close to Missouri who thinks that Missouri might be having a coaching change.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those are happening pretty often around there right now.
Yeah.
God, what is Drinkwitz's next job if he gets fired from Missouri?
I guess he's an offensive analyst somewhere for a little while.
Oh, you think he does that?
I'm guessing.
You don't think it's like Group of Five, put the hat on somewhere?
I mean, maybe.
Go take SMU into the ACC or something?
I would think with the money SMU's paying, they can do better than that. Man, I'm just insulting everybody today. I'm sorry.
It's just a couple $100 million. I'm not going to lose sleep over that. One booster at SMU tells Ross Dellinger. Okay.
I mean,
whatever.
Here's the thing at a place like Missouri, though. When you run off Drinkwitz,
what are you doing?
The next question is, okay, well, who you getting? Because the day you fire him, it's not his fault anymore.
It's true. Scrolling through, let's see what we got. Troy James Madison's a good game on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's a really good game on Saturday. Troy -1.5 at home.
Yeah,
against the Dukes.
That's a good game.
Dukes knocked off Virginia on Saturday.
Yeah.
Everybody kept going upset. James Madison's a better team. What are y'all talking about?
Virginia sucks.
Yeah, no, James Madison's just better. 20.5 now for Ole Miss. Opened at 21.5. It's now at 20.5. Is this not an enormous line? Georgia Tech played pretty well against Louisville in the opener. They lost.
And then they beat up
South Carolina State, whatever.
Yeah.
This line feels big to me.
It feels a little big to me because I kind of question, and I told you this, I kind of question whether the intensity is going to be there, knowing what's coming.
And what just happened. This is the sleep game. It might help a little bit because there's a Power 5 team on the helmet, but.
And I don't know about Georgia Tech enough. We'll try to get Kelly or someone on to talk about him. Something.
Russell.
We could get Russell, sure.
Good.
God knows he's got the computer to log into.
He does.
Ole Miss is beating them. The line's probably about right.
Okay.
If you told me, hey, by how much? I'm like, I don't know.
It also
20?
shows. This is what it also shows. Again, remember, Vegas is trying to get money in places and do things. Perception nationally is that Ole Miss is a top 25 team that's going to beat the hell out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So Joe Gambler from Dubuque, he's looking at it and going, hold on, Ole Miss just beat Tulane 37-20 in a top 25 win.
Here's the question.
They're about to beat Georgia Tech.
Here's the question I would have is, what does Georgia Tech's front seven look like? Because if I'm Ole Miss, I've got to figure out this running game. I've got to get some confidence before I go to Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Alabama just lost, but it's still Alabama.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, the dynasty is over thing, I'm with you, but it doesn't mean that there's still some damage they can do from the ruins.
Got a rivalry game on Saturday. Pitt's at West Virginia. West Virginia, a 1-point favorite over the Pitt Panthers on Saturday. That's a 1, by the way, on a 1 to 10 on how interested I am.
Yeah, it's a 1.
Tells you how bad Purdue is. Syracuse -3 in West Lafayette on the road.
God, that's a 1.
Purdue.
Can you imagine if someone said, hey, you have to watch Syracuse Purdue?
I'm out.
I'd say, no, I don't.
Arkansas -11 against BYU and the Cougars on Saturday in Fayetteville.
Arkansas is kind of weird right now.
Rockets still hurt.
They're very similar to Ole Miss right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the truth, they're very similar to Ole Miss. They're struggling a little bit up front. They're depending on a veteran quarterback who's making plays. They're throwing the ball a little bit better than you thought they'd throw it. They're having a trouble running it, but Sanders isn't playing. Probably out this week and then back after that is what I'm hearing. And then defensively, new coordinator, a lot of new players, and they're probably a little better, at least statistically, than people thought they'd be, but they haven't truly been tested yet. I don't know whether BYU will test them or not. They went out there last year and won that game pretty handedly. But Arkansas is one of those teams. It's kind of like Kentucky and, frankly, Ole Miss and a handful of teams that you're like, I guess they could be good. They could just be average. And if you told me they're a little below average, I'd kind of buy it right now. I don't know.
Yeah. It's only 2 games. We haven't seen a ton.
Yeah.
Competition's been all over the place.
Yeah. A lot of similarities between Ole Miss and Arkansas, though.
Yeah, for sure. Men's basketball tickets on sale. Those are on sale at OleMissTix.com. Women's basketball tickets as well, OleMissTix.com. Women's basketball tickets only $50 per season ticket. And the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation, they've got their Pledge Per Win and Pledge Per Touchdown campaigns going on. You can go to Give to Athletics, GIVTO, athletics.com to sign up today. And then single game football tickets for the rest of the season. Some of those still available as well. Again, those OleMissTix.com.
Are you a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands? Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Either way, Andy Ludicky can help. He owns multiple franchises and businesses and uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy. Put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. Nothing to lose. MyPerfectFranchise.net, or you can contact Andy directly at Andy@MyPerfectFranchise.net, or you can call him at 404-973-9901. Southern Traditions Farm is a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails, tons offered at Southern Traditions Farm. So get in touch with them if you're interested in using their venue. You can do that as well. So on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. Would you like some peace of mind knowing that your roof is taken care of? Whether you need an inspection, a new roof, or a maintenance program, Riverland Roofing has you covered, home or business. As a GAF Master Elite contractor, they can offer warranties that last a lifetime. Licensed and insured, Riverland services Mississippi and its surrounding states. So text or call Riverland today at 662-644-4297. And are you ready for the ultimate college experience? Welcome to College Town, Oxford, your new home away from home. They want you to want the best, and that's exactly what they offer. No more long commutes or missing out on campus events at Ole Miss. College Town Oxford, is next door to the Ole Miss campus. They offer spacious 2, 3, 4, and 5-bedroom cottages, each with individual leases, because they believe in flexibility and simplicity. Their incredible amenities will help you feel like you're living in a resort. Whether it's a weekend binge watch session or hosting the best game day parties, you'll do it in comfort and style, cheering on the Rebels with your friends. The community is designed to give you the perfect blend of comfort and convenience. So don't break up the gang. Grab your friends, Pick out your favorite floor plan and reserve it today at collegetownoxford.com. You can text their VIP list today to be the first to know when their leasing for fall 2024 is open. That number is 662-300-3733.
Podcast is brought to you by Johnson Hill Creamery. They've got their tailgating packages going for college football this season at Ole Miss and in the Grove, with Georgia Tech being a 6:30 kick. It's a great time to use Johnson Hill Creamery. You can order right there on their website at johnsonhillcreamery.com. You pick up at Chicory Market. Just specify the game you're ordering for. If you'd like to pick up on Friday or Saturday, they have a limited number of grazing tables for football season. You can fill out the inquiry form under our services on their website. Again, they feed 10, 20, or 40. Tons of great options. They're big trays. They do everything from their artisanal cheese trays. They make their cheeses locally every single day. The grazing, the charcuterie trays, the sandwich trays, the cheesecake dip, which is a huge favorite. They can come with fruit. They've got crudité with hummus, assorted cookies and brownies, and much more. So again, that's specifying what game you want. Pick up at Chicory Market. That's johnsonhillcreamery.com. Get into the rest of the games for the weekend. TCU giving 7 at Houston. It's a Big 12 matchup now between the Horned Frogs and the Cougars on Saturday. Hawaii is at Oregon. 37 is the line on that one. The Ducks giving the Warriors on Saturday. Bo Nick's going to have a day against Hawaii. The battle in New Mexico is up. New Mexico State, New Mexico, and only a 1.5-point line. I mean, that's a close game.
Wait.
I mean,
awesome. Sign me up.
You're all in on that one.
Breaking Bad Bowl.
Oh,
there you go. See,
they should do that. It should be a trophy.
Yeah,
they should.
The winner gets a trophy full of meth.
Heisenberg's hat.
There you go. The hat.
Is that what we go for?
That'd be good.
Is it the hat good?
Or the kid's bicycle.
Oh, come on. That's the scene that sticks with you.
Oh, was not necessary.
You can't let They had to show that Jesse was a monster.
Okay.
They did.
I mean, I already kind of believed it.
Both pregame shows, Fox and ESPN, are in Boulder on Saturday for Colorado State, Colorado. A 20-point game, by the way.
Hey, look. Think what you want about Deion Sanders. Whatever. That's not a bad football team.
Not a bad football team.
Shedeur Sanders, pretty good quarterback.
He is.
Plays with a chip on his shoulder. They got some weapons. They use them, and they're getting better on defense. Travis
Hunter out here doing plays like Cy Young did innings. I mean, dude can come off the field. Did like 127 plays in week 1.
Yeah, like literally NFL people look at him and go, okay, well, on the box, in shape, yeah, that's taken care of. 100%. He's an 80 on the 20-80 scale.
Yeah.
Good God. But hey, here's the thing. That place was kind of raucous. They were having fun. That place was a funeral home the last few years.
No, they've been awful.
I mean, credit.
That's been a train wreck since whatever year McIntyre won the division or whatever they
Rick
did.
George who hired him. Yeah. Credit to him.
Came out that day and goes, we don't currently have the money, but we will.
Hey, I mean, tip your hat. I mean, they're good. They're fun.
We've got a couple minutes here. That's all the games for the week. We'll get into Peniel's picks on Thursday. Am I missing something with this Mel Tucker thing?
There's a lot here.
I mean, I know a couple minutes is not going to answer it. My question, though, to some degree, this is getting out of a really bad contract.
Oh, for sure.
Even if whatever is also whatever, it is.
Okay. If you've got children in the car, now's the time.
We're done with the show.
We're not going to talk about Ole Miss anymore.
We're done with the show except for this topic.
We'll talk about Lane Kiffin tomorrow on the Tuesday.
Yeah, he has a 12 o'clock
podcast.
press conference today. Lane Kiffin's at noon, players afterwards.
So if you're here for Ole Miss content.
Or really any content except this. We're literally just talking about this for a minute and we're getting off the air.
I mean, PCA's on my mind, but I'll talk about this. That's it. You're not missing anything.
NFL shows tomorrow. I'm not even mentioning Joe Burrow today. We're done.
Yeah, leave Joe alone,
Sorry.
okay?
I apologize.
He had a day. It's okay.
I apologize.
Everybody has a bad day.
He did.
Okay.
If Mel Tucker's 12-2, we're not having this conversation right now.
Agreed. The university's known about this since July.
Maybe the university in the country that is the worst at handling these type of things.
Yes. They've known about this since July. They let him go through an entire preseason camp. And the first couple, they're 2-0. They didn't play anybody, but they're 2-0. And all of a sudden, this leaks to USA Today. Now, I don't know how it all got to USA Today. It was really good journalism. The story was really well written.
Yeah, it appears to be accurate and all that stuff.
But these are conversations between this woman and I can't remember her name right now. Brenda Tracy and Mel Tucker that are happening at like 1 a.m.
And apparently, I don't know the exact numbers. There were at least 25 calls of at least half an hour.
Yeah, I think that's right. Something along those lines. So there clearly is a relationship.
There is some level of consensual nature to this. Yes, 100%.
Did the masturbation happen on a Zoom call or like a FaceTime, or were they just having a conversation? Because he says he told her, and she acknowledges that he did.
And they continued the call. She did not hang up, said she froze up and was unable to get off the call. He claims it was consensual. The entire he called it an intimate relationship beyond this.
Yeah.
And claims it's consensual.
Not defending him in any shape, form, or fashion.
No, that's not, again, that's.
But I am questioning whether that's a fireable offense. Okay, I'm asking whether that's a fireable offense. There is a loose clause
in Michigan State's contract that allows it to be arguable. Okay. I don't have the exact phrase in front of me, but there is a clause where when I read what it was, I went, it's loose, but I see what you're doing and trying to get out of a bad contract.
But I read it and just was like, oh boy, this is like, you're just all over the gray area here. Like with what? Now, am I saying
because she's not a Michigan State employee?
No. So him having what appears to be a consensual, to some degree,
relationship,
phone sex episode.
Yes.
That I'm assuming was, I assume was just phone.
To my knowledge.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I haven't read every piece of this, but yes, to my knowledge.
Like, so how do you fire him for that? Someone goes, well, he's married. That's not the point. I get it, but not the point.
27 phone calls prior, or at least overall, with an average of at least 30 minutes.
I mean, I don't ever talk to anybody more than 30 minutes. And Caroline talks a lot. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of lessons you can learn from this.
Oh, look, because if whatever the worst case is, if he really was doing things to harass this woman, you are beyond stupid. And you should be punished.
Yes.
I mean, what, like, that's why I just kind of go, hold on a minute. But
Ginger says, I'm sorry, if she was not okay with it, she should just hang up. Or she could have told him, I'm not okay with this. Instead, and I realize but we did warn people. She told him to go ahead, essentially.
Oh, really?
Well, and stayed on the phone until there was completion. I mean, Ginger.
I mean, their two statements are what are at heart here. And this apparently was a once thing. Neither side has indicated it was more than once.
Correct.
Okay.
But after that call, he got different because she said something to somebody about it. And he said, I can't trust you anymore. And her
quote, the idea that someone could know me and say they understand my trauma, but then re-inflict that trauma on me is disgusting. It's hard for me to even wrap my mind around. It's like he sought me out just to betray me. His quote, Miss Tracy's distortion of our mutually consensual and intimate relationship into allegations of sexual exploitation has really affected me. I'm not proud of my judgment. I'm having difficulty forgiving myself for getting into the situation, but I did not engage in misconduct by any definition.
Yeah. I don't know. Be curious to see how Jimmy Sexton resolves this one.
Oh, is it really? Is he the?
Oh, yeah.
Is he the agent?
He's Tucker's guy.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the one that got that contract for him. And before everybody does the Jimmy's evil thing, stop. That's his job.
Yeah, whatever.
His job is to get his clients the best contract possible.
So
I'm going to guess there's a settlement here.
Yeah, I'd almost guarantee it. That's 100% where it.
He's not coaching anymore, and he's not getting 80. Is it 80 that they owe him or 70? They owe him an absolute ton of money. My guess is he gets 20, 30. All right, as we close, some people asked us where were we 20 years ago this morning.
Walking between first period. I was walking to a computer class. I was a senior in high school, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Senior in high school. I was walking to basic programming and word processing, and a classmate named David Long is who told me that something had happened. I was walking from one building to the next at that moment, and we essentially sat in school all day just staring at the TV. They turned all the TVs on, and we sat there until class got out. And then I remember leaving in the lines at the gas stations because everybody thought that the oil would be incredibly expensive and jack up at that moment.
I was in Auburn, Alabama. Auburn had beaten Ole Miss at home on Saturday, and I was still there. They were scheduled to play LSU on that Saturday in Baton Rouge, and I had worked all day Monday. Campbell was a baby. She was she was a little more than 5 months old. And my goal on that Tuesday, I normally stayed in Auburn until Wednesday, and my goal on that Tuesday was to get home that day. And so I got up early that morning, and I was writing ahead for the week. And Auburn had their media day scheduled for like 11:30 or whatever. And my plan was to go to that, write, and then get home. I was going to get home like 6 o'clock. I was super excited about getting home. Reggie Torbor was a freshman defensive end at Auburn from Baton Rouge. And I was transcribing an interview from Sunday with Reggie Torbor about going back to Baton Rouge to play against his hometown team. And I had the TV on NBC. Back then, I would turn on the Today Show in the mornings when I worked early. And I had the TV on, but I'd put it on mute because I was making myself work. Like, get done, Neal. Get done, make the most of these hours. And I looked up at one point, and there was a picture of one of the towers, smoke and stuff. And for whatever reason, I guess I used to read a lot of Tom Clancy stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought it's probably a teaser for a movie or something. And I went back down to type. And I was working on Torbor. I'm doing quote transition. I mean, I'm mailing it in. I'm getting done. And I looked up 5-6 minutes later, and it was still there. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, what's this? And I unmuted, and then the rest. I remember having to go to a press conference at Auburn in their football building. And I spoke to Tommy Tuberville before, and he basically said, why are we doing this? And I was like, you're not playing Saturday. And he's like, no way. But at the time,
Syracuse.
No, they were supposed to play at LSU.
Oh, right. And then okay. The next week.
Next week they played at Syracuse. Yeah. And so we go in, and some of the people on the beat keep asking football questions. And I just remember thinking, how in the world can you guys even think about asking football questions right now? How can you even think about it? You're really going to write about LSU today? Do you think there's one person in the country that's going to read about LSU Auburn tomorrow? I mean, even the most deranged college football fan wouldn't be reading that on Wednesday morning.
No.
And I just couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. And I wish I could go back and find that press conference, because Tommy basically was like, I don't really think we should be talking about this. And sure enough, the games got postponed till the first weekend of December.
Yeah.
And then what I really remember the most, like you were mentioning, is the next week Auburn played at Syracuse. And I just remember all the security around the Carrier Dome. And I also remember being on the plane that Friday. That would have been September the 20th.
Probably a little eerie.
I remember Hartsfield International was a ghost town. And I remember getting on the plane. It was a big 747 or whatever. And the stewardess said, sit where you want. There's only 10 of you.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I had a row to myself. And just felt weird. Are we safe to fly? It was one of the first days flights had been kind of opened back up again.
September 22nd, 2001.
That was the day of the Syracuse game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I flew on that Thursday, actually, because we went to Cooperstown. We had a trip planned.
Syracuse won.
Yeah. Dwight Freeney just killed him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember that, and I remember Governor Pataki was there, and it was just the national anthem was chills.
Oh. Yeah, I was looking at some of the players there. David Tyree on the field.
Don't remember
for Syracuse.
Don't really remember that part.
Yeah. Anyway,
I remember Jason Campbell it was his first year as a starter, and
yeah, sure,
he struggled.
Yeah, so
it's hard to make stuff happen when Dwight Freeney is chasing you down.
Yes. Speaking of Tyson and plans until things happen. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Big stream today, so appreciate you guys for that. We'll talk a good bit of NFL tomorrow, and then whatever Lane talks about today as well. So, again, 12 o'clock today for Lane Kiffin, rebelgrove.com in the meantime, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.